Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Friday, July 2nd. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 62 days, the game against Michigan in 148 days. This week is the Elite 11 football camp out in Manhattan Beach, California. It's an annual event that brings together the best high school quarterbacks in the entire nation for a few days of learning and competition. Buckeye Scoop's Marc Givler has been there since the event started on Wednesday night. And Marc, I guess let's start first with what actually happens at the Elite 11. What are these elite quarterbacks actually doing this week?
Yeah, it was a lot of drill work the first night, just, throwing against air, generally hitting some stationary targets. They worked on some red zone stuff, just kind of trying to simulate as many throws as possible in terms of what you're going to be asked to do at the college level, especially. So they kind of went station to station the first night and just kind of practiced different throws from different areas of the field. If last year was an indication, I think we're going to see a mock pro day drill at some point where they kind of simulate a pro day workout. And that may be a day two thing. And then they will wrap it up with some type of accuracy contest. Throwing into the nets or whatever that, I think people are used to seeing that type of video where they set up the nets and the stations and you're trying to throw the ball through the hoop, basically. So that is generally how they end things. So I'm expecting that will probably be the case day 3, but they always kind of add a new little wrinkle. And, I even asked Quinn after day 1, we asked him, what to expect. And he didn't know. So if he doesn't know, I don't know that we can be 100% sure, but that's generally historically how they've done things.
Right. And if you're listening to the podcast, you probably know who Quinn is, but Quinn is Quinn Ewers, Ohio State's 2022 quarterback commit. Marc, come on, AP style, first and last name on first reference. Come on, you know how we do things here.
Yes.
Quinn Ewers is part of the competition. I mean, is he living up to the hype here so far? I mean, you've gotten to see him for an evening and a morning. So what have you seen out of him so far?
Yeah, I mean, well, look, the talent's undeniable. The way he is able to generate such power and velocity in his throws with seemingly no effort. I mean, it's unbelievable watching. And there's times I watch him, I'm like, is he even trying? And he insists that he is. So we'll take him at his word. But it's like it was funny. They were simulating a deep out throw, and I'm standing right behind the receiver station, and I can hear his throw coming in. Like, it's not just okay, wow, you can see it and it's going really fast. I could hear the ball coming in, and then it just hits the receiver's hands and just look like pow. It's like this like smack, and it's unbelievable. It's the amount of arm strength he can generate with such little effort is pretty special.
You got to see him at an Ohio State camp a couple of years ago before he was like all caps Quinn Ewers when he was just like a freshman, I think. Where have you seen the biggest improvement from him since you last saw him in person?
I just think being able to the different arm angles, being able to throw off balance, it's just so much more consistent with how he's able to, even when he's not maybe as mechanically sound as maybe you would love him to be, just the consistent accuracy. And he's filled out. He's a much bigger, stronger kid than he was 2 years ago. But it's still, it looked really good his freshman year, just coming off it was kind of the same thing. It was like, man, he's generating a lot of velocity there with that throwing motion. And so that's all still there. I just think, again, I think a little more consistency and filling out his frame.
I mean, is the consistency the biggest thing he still has to work on? Is that, or I mean, is there more in there if he does start looking like he's really trying? Is there more in there in terms of arm strength? Or I mean, what do you think?
I think the thing that's going to be interesting for me, and he even talked about this in the group interview that we did afterwards, is how much is Ryan Day and the Ohio State coaching staff, Corey Dennis, how much are they going to kind of let him be him, and how much are they going to want to rein in some of the side arm, 3/4 arm? I know he even said, Ryan Day wants to get his release point a little higher. How much of that, is going to come into play here? He didn't sound like there was going to be any pushback from Quinn or anything like that on the coaching or anything like that. But it is interesting that he's able to kind of do all these different things off platform and from different arm slots and everything else. And it's going to be interesting for me to see kind of, okay, how much does Ohio State kind of let him do that the way that, the way Kansas City lets Patrick Mahomes do that, and how much, are they going to need to maybe rein in and be a little more structured?
One thing I've heard you talk about this week already is the fact that there are no statues there. There's no like John Navarre quarterbacks there. Everyone can kind of move, whether it's move a little bit or move like crazy. Now, I know Quinn Ewers is probably not the next Braxton Miller in terms of mobility and escapability, but how is he with his legs? How comfortable is he moving the ball without throwing it?
Oh, he's athletic. He's every bit as athletic as maybe like a Joe Burrow. I mean, he can move. It was alarming kind of looking at I'm like, all these guys, you're impressed, you're watching them throw, and then you have to remind yourself that all these guys can run too. And it's just the evolution of the quarterback position, I think, is amazing, because I just think dual threat used to be kind of a slang for he can't throw, and that's kind of turned into now these guys really are true dual threats. It's no longer kind of a passive aggressive knock of the kid that he can't throw. These guys can do both now. And yeah, are you going to call 10 design runs a game for Quinn Ewers? No, I don't think you're going to do that, but he can roll, he can throw on the run, he can get him outside the pocket, and he can make a lot of things happen.
A Joe Burrow comp, that has typically worked out pretty darn well in the past, as far as, there's only been one Joe Burrow, but that turned out okay. Not necessarily for Ohio State, but other places it worked out just fine.
And Joe would kill to have Quinn's arm too. Like, that's the other thing. Like, so if Quinn can kind of follow the Joe Burrow path of how to prepare and be a pro, he's going to have a lot of success.
Yeah, the Elite 11 is multiple days of in-person scouting and lots of drill work. And I mean, you get a really good look, but it's just shorts and t-shirts and throwing against air for the most part. So, that is all going to change this weekend when the Elite 11 ends and the opening begins. This is just like one event, just kind of spills into the next one. And a lot of these guys are going to be there for the opening, including Ewers. So what do you get to see at the opening that you can't necessarily evaluate at the Elite 11?
Yeah, well, they'll do a 7-on-7 tournament, so you'll get to see them. Again, no pass rush, so there's some things that you can't quite simulate from a game, but you're going to get to see them make quick decisions. You're going to have to make you got 3 seconds to get rid of the football. You're going to be going against some elite defensive players and guys who are going to be out there trying to make a name for themselves. Getting an interception against a Quinn Ewers, so you're going to have to learn and chemistry with these receivers. You're going to have a very brief amount of time to go out there and figure each other out, and then you got to go do it against a live defense. So yeah, just processing information, making quick decisions, accuracy, under pressure, not so much in terms of a pass rush, but in terms of a clock and just pressure to deliver the football accurately. So it's going to bring a new wrinkle into this. I've seen guys over the years, in terms of in terms of the Elite 11, where the t-shirt and shorts against air looks amazing, and then they go out and you play real football, and it's just not even close to the same. And it's also the reverse is true. I've seen, like Joe Burrow was not a great camp guy. He didn't blow you away in t-shirt and shorts. He absolutely did not. But when the game was on, it was time to make this. You had to deliver the ball accurately with timing and decision making and everything else. That's really the name of the game, obviously. So there's a lot of things that first day or two at Elite 11. It shows you the arm talent, but you got to find out more about these guys. Like I said, Gunnar Kiel and Shane Morris looked incredible at the Elite 11, and when you put them in pads in 11-on-11, and there's an inkling of a pass rush, it fell apart. So it's a constant process where you're piecing together everything and hoping you can kind of figure out who the real deal is and who's not.
Yeah, I mean, how do you go about weighing that? I mean, you get the t-shirt and shorts thing, and you get the 7-on-7 thing, and then you get the, and a lot of these guys, you're not necessarily getting a chance to scout in person multiple full games. You might be watching just film. You might get to watch one game here or there. How do you kind of, as an evaluator, put those three pieces together and kind of figure out like what the finished product really looks like?
I have probably drifted away from the camp 7-on-7 component more and just really tried to focus on game. Now, that said, you kind of use the camp 7-on-7 stuff as a baseline of their physical talent and maybe their potential. But, there's so many guys that make it look so easy when there's no pass rush. And for whatever reason, when there's a pass rush, it just falls apart on them. And so I really have started to drift more. Early on, I think everyone gets caught up, especially when you start doing this the first couple of years. You get so caught up in the big, strong arm and everything else, and you sort of lose track of hey, at the end of the day, it's about decision-making and timing and, knowing the offense and, being on the same page with the receivers. There's so much more that is so much more important once you have the baseline level of arm strength. So I'm more of an 11-on-11 guy, but that said, it's still fun to watch Quinn Ewers and Malik Murphy throw a football. It just, even against air, it's still impressive. It's amazing.
Yeah, you did a great show with Nevada Buck on Wednesday night that went up in the Gives in the Bank podcast feed, talking about some of the other quarterbacks there, including, yes, Malik Murphy. You can hear that episode there. Just search Gives in the Bank to find that one. People should definitely check that one out. But for people that haven't heard that one yet, it sounds like Rutgers, yes, the one in New Jersey, that Rutgers has themselves a potentially program-changing quarterback on the way. I had kind of heard about this and then forgotten about it, and I heard you guys talking. I was like, oh, yeah, him. I forgot about that. So go ahead and let people know what might be on the way in Piscataway.
Yeah, Gavin Wimsatt, just a tremendous talent. I saw him at the UC camp, the Under Armour event, and he had just committed to Rutgers in the past maybe week or two. And he's out of Kentucky. I think a lot of Kentucky fans were hoping they were going to get him. He's every bit of 6'3", 6'4". He's athletic. He's got a really good arm. It's not quite Ewers Murphy, but it's a plus arm. And man, it just, every throw looks the same. It never. I don't recall really a really bad throw he made in day one. It just, everything looks the same. It's very repetitive throwing motion. Spins it. It's on time. It's where it needs. The placement was good. And then again, you remember the kind of the theme here. You remember, oh yeah, he can run too. When which we're not going to showcase here this week, but he can run. And it's just, I made the comment, that's a bigger get for Rutgers than Quinn Ewers is for Ohio State. Because if Quinn Ewers doesn't go to Ohio State, they're going to find some other top 50 kid in the country, and they're going to surround him with 5-star receivers. They're going to surround him with 5-star linemen. They're going to surround him with 5-star running backs. And they're going to, Ryan Day is going to coach him up, and everything's going to be just fine for Ohio State. Whereas for Rutgers, if they don't, the gap between Gavin and their plan B is the Grand Canyon. And so getting a kid like that, a kid who, from everything I've seen of this kid, he could play anywhere in the Big Ten, and that includes Ohio State. He could play anywhere in the Big Ten. So if you get a kid like that, that is a total game changer for your program, and it should be a huge recruiting tool for them as well. There's a lot of receivers on the East Coast. There's every year New Jersey and Philly and Maryland have these athlete guys that you can maybe build around Gavin with those guys, and it's just, I don't know. I think to me that it's like landing five stars for Rutgers to get a kid like that, to me.
All right, and before I let you go, you have been crisscrossing the country this week. You were just in Florida earlier in the week. Got a chance to sit down with 5-star running back Richard Young, who's in the class of 2023. Ohio State seemingly feels pretty good about where they stand with running backs in that 2023 class. So where are things with Richard Young right now? Who else is in the running to land him right now?
So he's going to narrow his list probably pretty soon. I think he's getting pretty worn down by 50 coaches trying to get a hold of him. He made a round of visits in June. He's going to make a couple more in July. He's going to come back to Ohio State. He's going to go to Oklahoma after that. So I think we're going to see him narrow his list. It wouldn't shock me even if he did it before the Ohio State Oklahoma visit, but he could wait. I mean, he could wait maybe till August or September. But I think we're going to see a top 5 maybe. Maybe he can't make it that small. Maybe he has to go 6 or 7, but it's going to be a fairly manageable number. I like where Ohio State's at right now. They're going to get a second unofficial visit this summer. That's huge. I think Alabama is maybe the biggest one to watch, but of course Clemson, of course Georgia. We'll see how the Oklahoma visit goes. So he's one of those kids that everyone in the country is recruiting right now, and so it's going to be really interesting to see kind of. We know Ohio State and Alabama are going to make the cut. It's going to be kind of interesting to see which other schools do. I tend to think Clemson and Georgia are going to be on there as well, and then probably Oklahoma, assuming that visit goes well. But I like where Ohio State stands. I think what people need to realize here, and I at the risk of making myself look stupid in a few months, I'm just going to say this anyway. I'm as confident as I can be in a teenager's decision-making process that he is going to take official visits. So I think there's people who are going to be asking themselves, oh, is he going to come back and commit on July 29th? No, I would be beyond stunned, but Ohio State has, we're a quarter of the way through the marathon, and I think Ohio State's in first place.
All right. That's, again, betting on the decision-making of teenage boys always works out great.
Yeah, the timing things. Yes.
The timing thing,
that could be dicey. So.
I can't think of any other examples of that. So we're just going to let that go right now. But before I let you go, do make sure you check out that episode of the Gives in the Bank podcast from the Elite 11. That dropped Wednesday night. Really, really good stuff on a number of different quarterbacks that they've gotten to see there. And, if you guys do another one, if Mark and you in Nevada do another one, may drop that in one of those future shows here as a bonus episode. People seem to love those bonus episodes, and we'll be able to do that over the weekend at some point because you guys will have kind of a final verdict on where things stand, and then we'll have you on early next week to talk about what you get to see at the opening. So there's tons of great Elite 11 content on our YouTube channel right now, youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. Lots of, every throw Quinn Ewers made, interviews with Quinn Ewers, all sorts of really interesting stuff. That's all free, youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. If you hit the subscribe button there, you will get notified every time Mark posts a new video this weekend, every time we post a new podcast, all of our great content. You won't have to wait for it. As soon as it goes up, you'll get notified. So hit that subscribe button at youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. Also, we have had fantastic threads on our Ask the Insiders board all the month of June from these camps at Ohio State. Those have been incredibly popular threads. Lots of really good information, videos, photos, insight, analysis, chat, recruiting, and analysis on where these guys are staying or standing with various schools. It's all on our Ask the Insiders board. You just have to be a member of Buckeye Scoop to get access to that. And if you were a member of Buckeye Scoop before July 4th, you get a chance to maybe win Nevada's tickets to the Oregon game, 4 tickets to the Oregon game. You just have to be a member of Buckeye Scoop. That's by Sunday. You are running out of time. So sign up today at buckeyescoop.com. Get access to our Ask the Insiders board, get access to potentially Nevada's Oregon tickets, and so much more. But you got to sign up today. So don't dawdle. I've been warning you about this for a month. You're running out of time. Sign up now at buckeyescoop.com. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Have a great 4th of July. We may have a little bonus content for you over the weekend, but if not, we will just talk to you on Monday.